Shri Gurave Namaha. Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Preshaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Nitanam. Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharini Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Pashatya Deshatarani. Jai Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Gauravaktabinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare. Okay, so today we will discuss from chapter 2, the Lord in the heart, meditating on the Purusha in the heart. So this chapter is a continuation from previous chapter. In the second chapter, the spiritual form of the Lord in the heart, that is Paramatma, the practice of Dharana by the perfected yogi, the two paths of merging into the Lord by those who desire to give up their bodies, and then Dharana on visible material objects which infer the presence of the Lord, and Dharana on Bhagavan are described. So
Dharma on Bhagavan was described.
Will come, don't worry. Next, chapter has 37 verses. Here is a breakup. First verse talks about, is there any example of one who attained perfection by meditating on the Virat-Rupa? Lord Brahma is given an example. Then there is comparison, Karmakanda mentality versus path of Bhagavad Dharma. So the path of liberation. So that is compared in the next couple of verses. And then the prasa meditation on the super soul and description of the super soul, attaining perfection by meditating on the Paramatma, and then attaining perfection by meditating on Virat-Rupa, and then attaining perfection by meditating on Bhagavan. They are the different sections that are there in this section. So now, starting from verse number 1. Is there a proof of someone who achieved success by meditating on the Virat-Rupa? Why not? Previously, Brahmaji recreated the universe by meditating on the Virat-Rupa. Lord Brahma himself is an example of one who attained perfection by meditating on the universal form, which was described in the previous chapter. Shri Shuka Uvacha Evam Pura Dharanayatma Yoni Nashtam Smutim Pratyavaruddha Tushtat Tata Sasarje Damamoga Drishtir Yatapyayat Prag Vyavasaya Buddhi Pado.
Shukdev Goswami said, previously, Brahma, with fixed intelligence and clear vision, after regaining his memory of creation by satisfying the Lord, created this universe as it was previous to the destruction.
Little louder. So, here the example is given as that of Brahmaji. Evam Pura Dharanaya Atma Yonir. Atma Yoni means Lord Brahma, who appeared from the Lord Garbhodaksha Vishnu himself. So previously that Brahma, with controlled intelligence, with controlled meditation, and with pure vision, with proper understanding, after he regaining his memory of creation, basically he meditated on the universal form, he meditated on the Garbhodaksha Vishnu, then with the blessings of Garbhodaksha Vishnu, he created the universe as it was before the destruction. The universe, how it was in the previous day, he created in this current day. So he himself is the example. The intermediate results of yoga are described here. Okay, the purpose of yoga is to attain Sahyajya Mukti, moksha. But these are such kind of intermediate results, getting Ashtasiddhis, or getting ability to create, and all these things are intermediate results. Gaining his last memory by satisfying the Supreme Lord, Brahma again created the universe as it was before the destruction. He had fixed intelligence. What is that intelligence? I will create it by the inspiration of the Lord. So he knew that only by the inspiration of the Supreme Lord I can create. Then he took shelter of the Lord by meditating on him. So okay. Liberation through Ashtanga Yoga is fine. But what about attaining Swarga by the practice of karma. What's wrong with karma? Sarga awards Swarga. Karma awards Swarga. Why not practice karma? It's not a worthy goal. Isn't it that a worthy goal? Is Swarga is a worthy goal? Then Bhagavatam says no. The path of the Vedas or the path of karma only promises temporary pleasures, which are just like enjoyment in a dream. Because one goes to Swarga, enjoys for some time, then comes back. Once you come back, it is gone, it is no more available. Similarly, one who in the sleep, one who enjoys the dream, as long as the dream is going on, there is enjoyment. When dream is over, no enjoyment. Going to Swarga is also like that. It is not a permanent, so it is insubstantial. Then now the comparison is the path of Vairagya, which awards liberation, versus the path of path of karma, which awards Swarga. These two comparison is given. Shabdasya hi brahmana esha panta yennama birdyayate dhir apartai paribrahmam statra navindatertam maya mayeva sanaya sayana.
This is the path of the Vedas, in which the intelligence concentrates on various names, which are useless. A sleeping person desiring illusory happiness does not enjoy objects as he wanders around in his dream.
The Vedas generally proclaim about Swarga. Bhagavad Gita, chapter 2, verse number 40-41. Yam imam pushpitam vacham pravadanti avipachita vedavada ratapartha nanyat astiti vadina bhogeshwarya prasaktanam taya paharta chetasam kriya vishesha bahulam.
Bhogeshwarya Prasaktanam
Vyavasayatmika Kriya Bhogeshwarya prasaktanam taya paharta chetasam
Samadhana Vidhi.
Kriya Vishesha Bahulam Samadhana Vidiyate. It's like that. Basically, Bhoga Aishwarya Prasakta. The Vedas teach primarily about Bhoga and Aishwarya, either here or in the Swarga. So people who become attracted to these teachings of the Vedas, their intelligence is lost, because their intelligence is only focused on, okay, this is called Pitraloka, this is called Swargaloka, this is called this enjoyment. They always talk about that only. Desiring illusory happiness, they only wander in the dream. But the happiness award in the Pitraloka or Swargaloka is like that of a dream. It will be disappear. It will disappear as soon as one comes back. What should the dying person do? In answer to this, some sages want to say, do karma alone, with sacrifices for going to Swarga. This is proved by the Vedas. This verse answers them. If anybody starts making that kind of argument, the answer is, this is the path of the Vedas made up of sound, in which the intelligence of the sadhaka becomes engaged in the names such as Swarga, enjoyment, etc. He thinks, I will attain the happiness in Swarga, but it is useless. With a desire for happiness, the person in a dream, wandering around, does not enjoy objects. Though he attains those planets, he does not get excellent happiness, since it is perishable. The happiness of Swargaloka or Pitraloka is perishable happiness, it's not permanent happiness. That's why it is not substantial. Therefore, a wise person takes only what is needed from this temporary material world to keep his body and soul together. Therefore, intelligent person, as long as he lives, he only accepts what is needed to keep the body and soul together only. Tata Ata kavirnamastu yavadarta Sada pramatto vyavasaya buddhi siddhenyatarte nayate tatatra parishramam tatra samikshamana.
Therefore, being fixed in determination, attentive to his goal, the wise man will take only what he needs from this world, of the names to support the body. He should not attempt to support himself by other means, since it requires unnecessary labor.
Yeah. Therefore, being fixed on attaining liberation with complete determination, the wise man should only take whatever is needed to maintain the body and soul together. Otherwise, if one want to gain so many material objects, one unnecessarily need to endeavor hard labor. It's like that. Having criticized severely the path of karmis as being material, Sukadeva Goswami now speaks about the necessity of attaining perfection in yoga, which rejects the results of karma and which is common to the devotees and the jnanis as well. The intelligent person does not meditate on material objects of pleasure and does not endeavor for them. Whether one is a jnani, whether one is a devotee, both of them need to have this understanding that one should not unnecessarily endeavor to get the material objects. Therefore, the intelligent person does not meditate on material objects of pleasure and does not endeavor for them. So this is the instruction for a person who is desiring to get liberation, whether one is a jnani or one is a devotee. For anyone, they should not spend time in endeavoring for material objects. As Bhagavatam first canto says, Kamasya nendriya priti labho jiveta yavata jivasya tato jignasa narto ichcheha karmabhi. So one should not endeavor for artha. Instead, one should endeavor for moksha. All one's endeavor should be directed towards moksha, not for kama and artha. Therefore, one should accept as many material objects as one needs to support the body alone, because one is attentive to the perfecting of one's sadhana. Though one sees many obstacles, one does not deviate from one's practice. There could be so many difficulties in one's sadhana, but that should be the prime goal. Jivasya tattva jignasa. That should be the prime goal. Remaining all are subsidiary goals in that way. Thus, Sukadeva Goswami concludes that whatever happens simply happens. Whatever I have decided, that is certain. Let there be obstacles, that they will come and go. But whatever I have decided to attain the perfection, that is my life goal. I will move on. Like that, one should be determined. The amount needed to support the body of a young person is not the same as one's own needs. The amount needed to support the body of a young person is not the same as one's own needs. Though there are other ways of supporting the body, one does not attempt them, because in such efforts there is labor of worshipping wealthy men, etc. So Sukadeva Goswami trying to say that in order to attain perfection, one no need to endeavor hard, because there is something called requirement for maintaining the body. There is something called needs of the person. The person's needs may be more, but the requirements of the body may be limited. So one only need to take the minimal possible things just to maintain the body and soul together. In the name of the need, one no need to endeavor hard and no need to waste time. It's like that. Still, it is like grinding what has been ground, because the same things have been performed by same person in the past many lifetimes. If we again do the same things in this life also, dedicating the entire life for accumulating more and more things, there is no use. It's like that. In the next two verses, very graphically will tell. If we read through these two verses, we understand what exactly is trying to say. Then what is the lifestyle of such a wise man? How does he live? You are saying that he should not work for the needs. He should only take care of the minimal needs of the body. What kind of minimal needs are they? So he says that Satyam Shitau Kim Kashipo Prayashay Bahu Swasiddhehi Upabarhanai Kim Sati Anjalau Kim Purudana Partya Digwal Kaladau Sati Kim Dupulai.
If there is the earth, why do you need a bed? If you have arms, Why do you need a pillow? If you have your palms of your hands, why do you need many dishes? If you have the directions and tree bark, why do you need clothing?
Yeah. The simple requirement for a person is roti kapda makan, food chahiye, clothes chahiye, and home chahiye. Why home? I want to sleep. So this को देखो समझे that अभी इतना जमीन है तो home का जरूरत क्या है? Is your purpose of life is to construct home or go back to Godhead? If going to back to Godhead, he says no, I need to sleep. Earth is there, sleep. At least let me have a pillow. No, matlab, he says that I need a bed to sleep. So what is the use of a bed? Sleep on the surface. At least let me have a pillow so that my head will not pain. If arm is there, if you can use your arm as a pillow, what is the need of a pillow? Then what about my eating? I need to have some dishes. I need to have some vessels where I can prepare some dishes and eat. So if you have your palms and hands to collect the food which is left over on the pathway in the forest, the trees are leaving behind the fructified fruits, they are fallen down. You can simply collect them and keep in one hand and eat it. Why do you need vessels to cook? Why do you need vessels to hold and eat? All these things are too much endeavor. Just collect the food from the land and eat it with the hands. As long as you have hands, so you don't need any vessels. And then let me at least have some clothes. What is the use of, if you have the directions and tree bark, why do you need clothing? Who is speaking? Sukadeva Goswami. He does not wear any clothes. He's saying, then the four directions are there. Why do you need clothing? If at all you want to wear something, tree barks are there. Why do you need a lot of clothing? Why do you want to endeavor unnecessarily for getting clothing? Live simple. Like that. Here is described the only way of attaining perfection for the competent person. Kashipo means of bed. Upabarhana means for pillows. What is the need for many types of dishes for food if you have the hands? Next he continues. So tree bark. If you think tree bark is also too difficult, then Sukadeva Goswami gives solution. Chirane kimpadi nasanti dishanti bhiksham naivangripa parabruta saritopi asusyan ruddha grahan kimajito vatinopasannan kasmat bhajanti kavayo dana durmadandan.
Are there not torn clothes on the road? Are not the trees sustainers of others, giving alms? Have the rivers gone dry? Have the caves all closed? Does not Vishnu protect his devotees? Why should the wise worship the blind man infatuated with money?
Yeah. If you are not comfortable with tree bark, are the torn clothes are not available on the roadside? Okay, then you might say that, okay, tree barks may be good during summer, but what will happen during winter and rainy season? I will become cold. It will become cold, etc. It's very difficult to tolerate. How can I get rid of cold and other things in the rainy season, winter season? Angry at such an objection, Sukadeva Goswami speaks. Is there not torn cloth lying on the road? Okay.
This is Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur's.
He is also, and also some of our Vidyapit notes, our teachers' notes. Combined. Both are combined together. So wherever this conversation comes, that is from Chakravarti Path. Wherever the some general statements come, that is from Vidyapit notes. So, okay, torn clothes are there. Then what about relieving my hunger? How will I fulfill my hunger? The needs of hunger. Do the trees which nourish others not give alms? Men should not give you anything. So you may say that, do the charities are not given? So they say that when I go for charity, they say, why don't you work? You are a very strong and short person, can't you work? Okay, no problem. If they are thinking that they don't want to give any charity, forget about the all men. Go to forest. Are the trees are not giving charities? They stopped giving charities? Trees are those so generous that they are given up their life for the benefit of the society only. They will never say no to any person comes to them. They will give charity in the form of fruits and roots. Take them. Do the trees which nourish others not give you alms? Men should not give you anything. So then he says, no problem. After eating some fruits and roots, I need to find some water. Let me have some matka at least to hold the water, to keep the water. Then he says, what bad intelligence you have. Have the rivers gone dry? You want to have a matka and hold the water? Our rivers are not giving you enough water? Go to river and have it. Have water. No, this is all Vanaprasthana when he's in forest, not in the city. This is all for a renounced person who is practicing jnana or ashtanga yoga. That cannot be done in the home, in the village. It's supposed to be done in the forest only. And even though in the olden days all the ashramas are next to a river only. All the ashramas of the great sages are next to a river only. They cannot be here and there in the normal forest. Ramayana, you see Valmiki ashram also next to a river. Vyasadev's ashram is next to Saraswati, like that. Even when Pandavas goes to forest, they also used to stay next to a river. As long as they were in the forest. That is common practice. So then he says, okay sir, that is fine. Food ho gaya, kapda ho gaya, but रहने के लिए कुछ तो चाहिए ना, some hut चाहिए ना. Okay. Then he says that have the caves closed. You can go and stay in the cave. No need to construct a hut. Why do you want to waste time in construction of the hut and maintaining the hut? Now, if I go to cave, a tiger will be there, lion will be there, scorpion will be there, snake will be there. They may cause harm to me, they may kill me. Does Lord Vishnu not protect his devotees? The Lord in the heart is in the tiger also. The Lord in your heart is also in the heart of tiger. Why will the Lord, affectionate to the devotees, send the tiger to attack the devotee? If your devotee has gone to forest with all this understanding, with the single aim of attaining perfection, when they stay in the cave, how could Paramatma inspire the tiger to come and harm him? Does the Lord does not protect? So like that. These are all various reasons to indicate that when all these things are there naturally available, why do you work hard to please a Dhanadharmadanda? Why should the wise worship the blind men infatuated with money, Dana Durmadanda, in order to maintain oneself, where one's maintenance can be carried out very naturally, very easily. So like that. Then he continues, Evam Sachitte Swata Eva Siddha Atma Priyorto Bhagavan Ananta Tam Nirvato Niyatarto Bhajeta Samsara Hetu Paramascha Yatra.
Thus being situated, the Lord, who is filled with prema, who is the most valued, who is full of all qualities, and who is everywhere, appears spontaneously in his heart. The yogi filled with bliss and aiming for prema should worship him. By this worship, ignorance because of repeated births is destroyed.
So here he is telling that, see, whatever has been mentioned in the previous 2-3 verses, as we mentioned yesterday, that will be the lifestyle of a Vanaprastha and Sannyasi, who is taking the path of Jnana or Yoga. Like that they should live. Then only they attain perfection. Even a devotee also at one point of time should live like that. That much detachment should come. then only we will become ready to go back home to order. Otherwise, if we are still attached to our comfortable facilities, will remain here only. So it is like that. It is already accomplished because Lord Vasudeva is already in his heart. It is not necessary to follow procedures like Avahana to call. Thus, being situated the heart, the Lord, who is filled with prema, who is most valued, who is full of all qualities, and who is everywhere, appears spontaneously in his heart. If a jnani or yogi or devotee lives such kind of lifestyle, the Lord always manifests in their heart. The yogi, especially in this case, filled with bliss and aiming for prema, should worship the Supreme Lord. By this worship, ignorance, the cause of repeated birth, is completely destroyed. Priya, Artha, Bhagavan, and Ananta are modifiers of Atma, the Supreme Lord. The Lord is naturally the shelter of the prema. Thus he is called Priya. Though he is shelter of prema, he has no unwanted accessories like sons, since he is the supreme object. Though he is the supreme object, he is not just in the heart. He is Bhagavan, absorbed with beauty and other qualities. He is not restricted in place at all. In a place at all. He is situated in all places, since he is all pervading, Ananta. There is no effort needed in worshipping the Lord. The devotee is absorbed completely in the bliss of his worship. He has prema as a fixed goal of his bhakti. If such kind of devotee living such kind of lifestyle is completely meditating on Supreme Lord, then he comes to the prema platform. He will see the Lord everywhere. Our Niyatartha can mean he has fixed the number of names he chants, how many stories he will hear, how many obeisances he will offer, how much time he will meditate. Niyatartha. Shada Goswamis used to chant continuously, but they also make counting of the rounds. Like that, this kind of devotee, he has everything fixed. Everything is regulated. Every day he will chant so many rounds, so many obeisances, so much hearing Krishna Katha, like that. Everything is fixed. How much time to meditate, all these things are fixed. By that worship, ignorant the cause of samsara should be destroyed as an unsought result of the devotee. For the jnanis and yogis, however, this is a sought result. The word cha added to complete the matter. In the heart of a person thus situated, the Lord appears spontaneously. The yogi who blissfully worships him destroys the ignorance which is the cause of repeated samsara. So basically, a person, a devotee or a jnani or yogi who lives this kind of lifestyle, that person will have the Paramatma manifest in his heart very quickly. So in that way. Then finally what? Kastam tu anadritya paranuchintam rite pashun asatim nama kuryat pasyan janam paditam vaitaranyam swakarmajam paritapan jushanam.
Seeing people experiencing suffering from their own actions while sinking in the river of hell, who except persons indulging in material life would disregard bhakti, which concentrates on the Lord and meditate instead on material objects.
Yeah. If you can't understand by hearing this subject matter, at least see what's happening outside. See the people who are experiencing suffering who are by simply attached to material desires. And eventually they are making their life hell. And eventually at the end of their life, they will go to hell. If you can't understand this by hearing, at least understand by seeing. Otherwise, who else other than the foolish person will not perform bhakti, will not meditate on the Supreme Lord discarding bhakti. So at least kindly understand by seeing, if not by hearing. It's like that. Sukadeva Goswami is saying, Para refers the Lord. Who except those involved in material life would unsuitably disrespect bhakti and think of material objects. Giving up such a glorious path, only an animalistic person would choose to meditate on the temporary objects promised by the path of karma. Only a less intelligent person will meditate on path of karma, not a intelligent person. So like that. Having shown bhakti and the presence and absence of bhakti, Shukadeva Goswami now speaks again about the process of dharana of the yogis and the form of the Paramatma, which is superior to the universal form previously described. In the previous few verses, he said that by performing bhakti, or even a jnani or yogi also by performing bhakti, by meditating on the Supreme Lord, they can very easily attain perfection. Perfection in the form of going to Swarga is not the real perfection. Instead of worrying about earning the products for daily necessities, live a lifestyle of natural facilities available through nature and focus on meditation on the Supreme Lord, performing sadhana. That is more appreciated. Like that, the comparison between karma and bhakti is given in the previous section. So, with respect to in comparison to bhakti, karma stands nowhere. So, forget about karma. Now, what about Ashtanga Yoga and Jnana Yoga? That is mentioned now. So, in the previous class, it was mentioned, the previous chapter, it was mentioned that a yogi whose heart is completely purified can meditate on Paramatma from the stage of dharana. But a yogi who has still material desires, since they cannot meditate on Paramatma, they are recommended to meditate on Virat-Rupa. So, by meditating on Virat-Rupa, they are supposed to purify their heart. So, that was the previous class discussion. So, now is continuing the dharana on the Paramatma. So, when the yogi is meditating on Paramatma, if he is purified by meditating on the form of Virat-Rupa, then they will meditate on the Paramatma. So, how do you understand whether they are actually meditating on Paramatma? Who Paramatma is all about? What are the bodily descriptions of Paramatma? 8 to 11 verses, about 3 and 1. 4 verses talks about the wonderful description of Paramatma. केचित् स्वदेहान्तहृदयावकाशे प्रादेशमात्रं पुरुषं वसन्तं चतुर्भुजं कञ्जरताङ्गशङ्खा गदाधरं धारणया स्मरन्ति.
Some yogis meditate upon the Paramatma measuring one Pradesh, who is residing in the heart within the body, and who holds the lotus, wheel, conch, and plug in his forehead.
So this is the form of Paramatma, upon whom the yogi is supposed to meditate. Some refers to those who are superior to the yogis who meditate on the universal form, are those who by practicing meditation on the universal form which has been described have become purified and then meditate on the spiritual form of Paramatma. Those who have initially meditated on universal form, then purified, then they are meditating on Paramatma, or those who are already purified are meditating on Paramatma. Such kind of yogis. There are 4.
After meditating on Virat-Rupa, one has to meditate on Paramatma. That is
obviously meditating on Paramatma is compulsory for yoga.
तो अगर विश्वरूप पे मेडिटेट किया तो उसके बाद वो प्यूरिफाइड हो गया. दिस इज व्हाट द अंडरस्टैंडिंग इज. मतलब वो कंप्लीटली प्यूरिफाइड हो जाता है.
होता है क्या नहीं होता है क्या इधर बताया. There are 4 types of yogis that is mentioned. We will see who are the 4 types, what happens to them, what will be their destiny. So it is expected that they will be purified. If not purified, then what they are supposed to do. So that we will see. There are 4 types of yogis who practice dharana. The first type meditate on prana and the mind without using the form of the Lord. This is not approved by the Bhagavatam. The hardcore yogis who does not have any conception of Paramatma and all, Paramatma or Bhagavan, they simply meditate on prana and the mind. Even while meditating in dharana, dhyana, samadhi, they only meditate on breathing, how breathing is happening in and out. And they also meditate on the mind, what is happening in the mind, stopping the mind with all the desires. But that kind of yoga is not approved by Bhagavatam. There are many yogis outside, they preach this kind of yoga to be performed. The second type becomes purified by meditating on the universal form just described, and then meditates on the four-armed form of Paramatma, Garbhodaksha Vishnu, described in the third canto, 3.8.23. There are some yogis who initially meditate in Virat-Rupa, then they are purified, then they gain the qualification to meditate on Paramatma. The description of the form of Paramatma is mentioned in the 3.8.23. So these people are only interested in Sahajya Mukti, but the process recommending them to meditate on Paramatma, they are meditating. Mrunala Gaura Yatashesha Bhoga Paryanka Ekam Purusham Shayanam Fanata Patra Yutamurna Ratna Dubir Hatadvanta Yuganta Yutoye. It says that he saw the one Lord sleeping on the broad bed of Shesha, white like water lily, in the waters of devastation, whose darkness was dissipated by the lighthouse of the jeweled lighthouse by the light from the jewels on the top of the thousands of umbrella like hoods of Shesha. So basically what will be the form of Paramatma will be meditated by this yogi is described here. So then the yogi sees the one supreme Lord, Garbhodaksha Vishnu, sleeping on the bed of Ananta Shesha and within the waters of the devastation. So, but the entire darkness of the entire universe will be dissipated by the light coming from the jewels which are there on the hoods of Ananta. So like that. The third type of yogi, after meditating on the universal form, meditates on the Vyashti Virat, the Lord in the heart with four arms. The fourth type is a pure in heart already. So in one sense, the third and fourth are same only. But the thing is that the third at least is going to meditate, he is actually seeing that Paramatma in relation to Garbhodaksha Vishnu. He is seeing the Paramatma as non-different from Garbhodaksha Vishnu. Third one. But no, not third one. Second one is seeing the Paramatma as the Garbhodaksha Vishnu. Third one does not see that. He only sees him as the Vyashti Virat. He sees Garbhodaksha Vishnu is the, not Garbhodaksha, the Paramatma is the transformation of the universal form. So something like that. Basically, he meditates on the Vyashti Virat. He sees him as the Paramatma only. He does not compare him with Garbhodaksha Vishnu. He just meditates on Vyashti Virat. And then Vyashti Virat, the Lord in the heart with four arms. The third type, after meditating on the universal form, meditates on the Vyashti Virat, the Lord in the heart with four arms. He directly meditates on Paramatma who is there in the heart. The second one meditates on Garbhodaksha Vishnu, the form of Paramatma, the Garbhodaksha Vishnu. But the fourth type is completely pure in the heart. You don't have to meditate on universal form and then meditate on Paramatma. You can directly meditate on Paramatma. Being pure in heart, thus some meditate on the Vyashti Virat in the heart. The Paramatma who is there in the heart is called as Vyashti Virat. The universal form which is outside is called as Vairata. Stula Virat or Vairata. So in that way. Pradesha Mataram means the heart as a dimension of one Pradesha. So what will be the size of the Paramatma? The size of the Paramatma is one Pradesha. One Pradesha is nothing but a fist size, the size of the fist. For every person, the size of the heart is equal to the size of the fist.
For every person,
For small child, what will be the size of the fist? That will be the size of the heart. For big person, what is the size of the fist? That will be the size of the heart. Since Paramatma is staying within the heart, where is staying in the heart? He is staying everywhere in the heart. It is all pervading. So how much area? One Pradesha. The size of the heart is one Pradesha. So the Lord stays, the Paramatma stays in the heart. That's why it is called as Pradesha Matram. His size is one Pradesha. Kiska?
Paramatma, see, as our gross body is increasing, Lord stays, अगर छोटा सा आता है तो भगवान उधर रहता है छोटे बच्चे का. So our gross form of the body is increasing, but the size of Paramatma remains the same.
Yeah, Paramatma remains same. Your understanding is that if somebody asks where in the heart Paramatma is staying, is staying everywhere within the heart. Though everywhere is staying means the total size of the heart will be the area of Paramatma. He may stay anywhere, but he can be seen everywhere. His effect is there all over the heart. So in that way, that becomes his entire place of residence. So in that way, though he is that size, by his inconceivable energy as a form of a man of 15 years old, but it is said he is 15 years old. But it is for it is said Santam Vayasi Kaishora is only 15 years old. Vasantam means he who has made his residence there as Paramatma. Since the Lord has made his residence in the core of the heart as Paramatma and he spreads everywhere in the heart region, that's why he said he is located in the size of the heart. His form is the size of the heart, Pradeshamatra. It is said like that. Pradeshamatra means the distance between this finger to this finger, whatever it is.
Itna
Itna.
size.
Itna size.
Yes, yes.
Not Aisa. What is the distance between this? That will be the size of the heart. Then further details of the Paramatma. Prasannavaktram nalinayatakshanam kadamba kinjal kapi sangavasasam lasat maharatna hiranmayangadam spuran maharatna kirita kundalam.
This form has a smiling face, eyes wide like blue lotus petals, cloth yellow like kadamba pollen, gold armbands with sparkling rubies, and earrings and crown made of dazzling gems.
Maharatna means valuable gems like the ruby. He has a smiling face, beautiful eyes, and is dressed in yellow cloth and dazzling ornaments. The external appearance, smiling face, yellow garments, belt, this, that, so many other things. And few more details. Unnidrahrit pankajakan karnikalaye Yogeshwarastapita pada pallavam Sri Lakshmanam kastubaratna kandaram Amlana Lakshna Vanamalya Chintam.
His two lotus feet are established by great yogis in the center of the blossoming lotus within their hearts. Around his neck is the Kaustuba jewel, and on his left chest is the mark of Lakshmi. He is covered with a flower garland which never fades.
Yeah, basically, the lotus feet of the Lord, which are like the lotus flower, are tightly kept in the heart of the yogi. And on his neck there is Kaustuba jewel. On his chest there is a Strivastangitam, the mark of Mother Lakshmi. And on his neck there is a flower garland also.
So while devotees ऐसा विष्णु deities बनाते हैं, so their hair रहता है, वो भी symbol डालते हैं.
Mother Lakshmi always remains in the heart portion of Lord Vishnu. So it is always there. So this Lord has feet which are placed by the great yogis in the center of blossoming lotus of their hearts. One should meditate upon his devotees, the great yogis. The mark of Lakshmi is golden line on the left. Yeah, the mark of Lakshmi is golden line on the left chest of the Lord. The Kaustuba hangs from his neck by a gold string. Kaustuba hangs from his neck by a gold string. Achtam means spread. Wearing the Kaustuba and endowed with Srivastamark, he appears within the heart of the yogis. So, like these are various bodily descriptions. This is the last verse in description of Lord Paramatma. Vibhushitam me kalayanguliyakair mahadaneru nu purakan kanaka adibhi snigdhamala kunchitanila kuntale virochamanana hasapeshalam.
He is decorated with valuable belt, rings, ankles, and bracelets. His attractive, smiling face is surrounded by spotless, glossy, curly black locks of hair.
Srimad Bhagavatam many places describe the form of the Lord in order to negate the conception of impersonalism. So here you see, he is decorated Vibhushitam with valuable Mahadanair. Belt, Mekalaya means belt. Rings means Anguliyakair, the rings for all the fingers. Anklets, Nupur. Nupur means anklets. So, and then bracelets. Kankanadibi is attractive, smiling face. Peshalam Hasa Anana is surrounded by spotless, glossy, curly, black locks of hair. Neela Kuntalayar. The Lord's face is covered by black, curly hair. Mahadana means valuable. He has an attractive smile on his face, which shines with glossy locks of hair. He is decorated with the valuable ornaments, and his face is very attractive with curly, glossy, and black hairs. So it's like that. There is a description of the Paramatma. The wonderful description of Paramatma has been mentioned. So a detached yogi is supposed to meditate on Paramatma. If they cannot meditate on Paramatma, one should meditate on Brahman. So not Virat-Rupa. So that categorization now mentioned. Adina Leela Asitekshanollasat Bhrubanga Samsu Chitaburi Anugraham Iksheta Chintamayamena Mishwaram Yavan Manodharanayash Yava Tishtate.
His bountiful mercy is indicated by his sweet, playful, smiling glance and the movement of his shining eyebrows. One should see this form of the Lord, which appears through contemplation until the mind remains in a concentrated state.
Further details. What kind of form should be meditated upon? His bountiful mercy is indicated by the sweet, playful, smiling glance and the movement of his shining eyebrows. So with that, Lord is actually expressing his pleasure of the devotional service of that devotee. Therefore, one should see this form of the Lord, which appears through contemplation until the mind remains in a concentrated state. That means during the process of dharana and then during the process of dhyana, one should properly meditate on the form Paramatma. Then the mind becomes completely freed from all the agitation and gets to the stage of Samadhi. It's like that. His mercy is indicated by smiling, playful, sweet glances and the movements of his shining eyebrows. Chintamayam means which appears by meditation. His smiling glance and the movements of his eyebrows bestow bountiful mercy. One should meditate on this form of until the mind remains in a concentrated state. Ekaika songa nidhyanu bhavayet padadiyavaddashitam gadabruta jitam sthanamapohya dharayet param sudyati dhiryatayata.
One should firmly meditate with the intelligence on each limb, one after the other, starting from the feet up to the smiling face of the Lord. After practicing concentrating on one limb, one should give that up and proceed to the next, as the intelligence gradually becomes purified.
Yeah. In the previous verse, dharana has been mentioned. What is dharana? One should meditate on the bountiful face of the Supreme Lord, the whole, not one face, the whole form of the Supreme Lord. One should meditate. Then next stage is dhyana. Dhyana means meditating on the one limb after other limb. Ekaikaso angani dhyano bhavayet. One should meditate on limb by limb. Where to start? Start with the pada, lotus feet. The meditation is over. Give it up. Start with the calves. thighs, abdomen, stomach, chest, neck, face, within the face, so many other details. Like that, one after the other, meditate on one form, attain perfection, give that up, raise, meditate, attain perfection, give that up, like that. Param param shuddhati dhir yata yata. Their intelligence gradually becomes completely purified. Thus, one should formally meditate on the form of the Supreme Lord. Initially, complete form, later on, limb by limb. Repeatedly meditating on each limb, such as the feet or ankles, one should give that up and meditate on a higher limb, such as the ankles or knees, using the mind. One should meditate to the degree that the intelligence becomes purified and gives up lust for material objects. According to the purity of consciousness, one will have effective meditation. One who has a very contaminated consciousness cannot perform this meditation. So it's like that.
The consciousness here is referred to the consciousness purified, intelligence purified, the consciousness purified.
Actually, in one sense, all the four. Though one word is used, the one word itself indicates the purification of mind, intelligence, ego, and Chaitana. All the four needs to be purified 100%. Even if there is small contamination in one place, that will be a troublesome.
So mind, intelligence,
ego and Chaitana. All the four needs to be purified completely. So
this function of purifying this all four, mind to meditate करता है, लेकिन intelligence purify कैसा होता है, मतलब
intelligence contemplates, okay, this is Lord Swami is like this. Lord wears yellow garments, he wears this jewel, like that. Intelligence is to tell what is what. So that analysis will be there. And meditating upon the compassionate nature of the Lord. It's like that. For everything there is a purification. Just by focusing on the Lord, according to their natural tendency, they'll get purified. The purification, if there is a purification, then there is meditation. Without proper purification, the meditation will not happen. And purification will happen only when there are no desires. When there are desires, there will be no purification, there will be no meditation. Like all are interdependent.
So the more one is able to concentrate, that is the parameter that to that degree one is
purified. So, according to the purity of consciousness, one will have effective meditation. One who has a very contaminated consciousness cannot perform this meditation. He should meditate on the universal form. If one cannot perform meditation on the complete form of the Paramatma and limb by limb meditation on the Paramatma, then they should meditate on the universal form. The same as that was mentioned in the last chapter. Yavan najayeta paravaresmin Vishveshware Drishtari Bhakti Yoga Tavastavirya Purushasya Rupam Kriyavasane Priyatasmareta.
As long as meditation on the Lord and the witness of all beings, superior to even Brahma, which has bhakti as an element, does not manifest, one should remember the gross universal form after performing necessary rites of Karma Yoga with proper attention.
So same thing. Yavanna jayeta paravaresmin. As long as meditation on the Paramatma, who is the witness of all our activities, who is superior to Brahma and all other living entities, which has bhakti as an element, okay, does not manifest. As long as the yogi cannot meditate on Paramatma as a dharana or dhyana state, one should remember the gross universal form. One should remember meditate on Stula Virat-Rupa. Staviya Purushasya Rupam, that is Stula Virat-Rupa. After performing the necessary rites of Karma Yoga. with proper attention. That means, as a grihastha, one should perform Nishkama Karma Yoga, try to attain as much possible as purification. Then, they, as after taking to Vanaprastha and Sannyasi, they should meditate on universal form to attain complete purification. Then only they can able to come to Dharana Dhyana on Paramatma form. These details are not mentioned in the previous chapter. So when the commentaries were made, when the notes were given, taking the reference of these two verses, already it is mentioned in the previous chapter. Previous chapter, the details not mentioned. It is like implied indirectly. So the details are coming now here. As long as one cannot meditate on this form because of impure consciousness, one should meditate on the universal form. Paravara means he to whom Brahma and others are inferior. Why? Because he is the Lord of the entire universe and is the witness whom no one can see. He can see everyone, but no one can see him. Bhakti Yoga means that the meditation or smarana, which is an anga of yoga, as an element of bhakti. So here Bhakti Yoga means meditation or smarana, which is also an anga of Ashtanga Yoga. Dharana and Dhyana and Samadhi, these three are meditation only. So they are one anga of Ashtanga Yoga, and which is also an anga of Bhakti. Smarana means meditating on pastimes of the Supreme Lord, Nama, Rupa, Guna, Lila. Here they are also meditating on the form of the Paramatma. So if not Nama, Guna, Lila, but at least they are meditating on Rupa. Still it is meditation.
For them, there is no variety. Only Paramatma or Eki variety.
No, it is not that they are not having understanding of Bhagavan. They have understanding of Bhagavan, but they are attracted to Sahajya Mukti. So the process recommend them to meditate on Paramatma. Even later on it is said that when they are meditating on Paramatma, they also remember different activities of the Supreme Lord in relation to various body limbs. When it comes to lips, Lord Krishna killed Putana by lips. When it comes to palms, Lord Krishna killed Chakras with his palms. So in relation to Vishnu, there may be some pastimes, but their meditation does not go into the Leela meditation. Their meditation remains with Rupa meditation. They only meditate on the form of the Lord. So in that way. Even it is mentioned in the next third canto, Lord Kapila, there Lord Kapila says that while meditating on the individual limbs of the Lord, they should actually meditate on pastimes connected to those individual limbs. They should actually do the Leela Dhanam also. They are recommended to the Leela Dhanam. Some may do, some may not do, but at least they should do Rupa Dhanam. So uska to excuse me. Leela Dhyanam, Guna Dhyanam, Nama Dhyanam, they are like additional things. But Rupa Dhyanam is compulsory. Uske bina, they cannot attain perfection in that way. See here you see for both the forms. One is Paramatma form, other one is Virat-Rupa form. If one cannot meditate on Paramatma form, one should meditate on Virat-Rupa. Then after the purification of the heart, then again meditate on the Paramatma form. So like that. So now with the purification of the heart is completely purified. There are no more trace of the desires. Then that yogi want to attain liberation instantly. In no time, not after a long time. The process of attaining instant liberation is explained in 1521.
So just Dharma is perfected. He can directly reduce his lifespan or after Dharma only.
Dharma, Dhyana, Samadhi.
Samadhi.
After Samadhi, they can give up the body. After coming to the platform Samadhi, Samadhi means cessation of all material desires. The material mind becomes dead.
अच्छा ओके ध्यान में क्या बोला तुझे धारणा में तो पूरा प्यूरिफिकेशन परफेक्टेड प्यूरिफिकेशन में हो जाता है सो ध्यान इज an extension of dharma.
Dharma is meditation on the complete form of the Paramatma.
Right.
By doing so 90% purification happens. Right. Dhyana is limb by limb meditation on the Paramatma. Dhyana limb by limb meditation by which 100% purification will happen. Right. Then Samadhi. By Samadhi, mind becomes
completely reconciled.
Mind becomes indifferent or dead, completely, something like that.
Right.
Then they can give up the body by taking shelter of Chakra Yoga. It's like that. So this is if they are filled with zero desires, but still they have some more desires. Okay, they don't have any desires in relation to earth, but they have few remnants of desire, not to enjoy, but just to see in relation to Maharloka, Janaloka, Tapaloka, other places. Then they have to go through Karma Mukti, a process of gradual liberation. That will be explained from 22nd verse onwards. First 15:21, instant Mukti will be explained. How to attain instant liberation. Now they are done with the material existence. Ho gaya. Generally, instant liberation will be attained by the pure yogis, detached yogis who don't have any material desire. But still, some attached yogis, by initially by meditating on Paramatma, then they meditate by meditating on Virat-Rupa, then they meditate on Paramatma, then they become freed, completely freed. They will attain instant mukti. But for some yogis who, after meditating on Virat-Rupa, they have some traces. Still, they can meditate in Paramatma, and then they will have to go through Karma Mukti. That will be mentioned in the next section of this chapter. So first, what is the practice of this Paramatma meditator? How does he attain his goal of liberation? Stiram sukam cha sanamastito yetir yada jihasur imamangalokam kale cha deshe cha mano na sajjayet pranan niyachen manasajitasu.
O king, when the renounced yogi, seated comfortably on his seat, desires to give up his body, he does not attach the mind to time or place. Conquering life, he controls the senses.
Stiram sukam chasana masito yetir yada jihasur imamanga lokam kale cha deshe cha manona sajjate prana niyachan manasa jitasu. So when the renounced yogi, yati, here yati means renounced yogi. Generally yati means sannyasi. Sannyasi or vanaprastha, either case, they are renounced. Such a person seated comfortably on his seat. Sukam asanam, that means seated in Padmasana. While practicing Ashtanga Yoga, we need to sit on the asana. That is, Sukhasana is called as Padmasana. Desiring to give up his body, he does not attach the mind to the time or place. So when one, after coming to the platform of Samadhi, the mind should not think of this world anymore. Should not think of the home, people, this, that, nothing. Now only one desire, Mukti. Nothing else. Only one desire, that is liberation. Thus, Kalecha Deshechita Manodana Sajjate. His mind should not have any thoughts in relation to the material world. That is the state of Samadhi. Samadhi means the mind is dead in relation to material activities and material thinking. Then, conquering life, Jita Asu. He controls the senses by the mind, by the controlled mind. This verse describes giving up the body by the Bhakti Mishra Yogi. When he desires to give up the body, he should not be attached to time, such as Uttarayana or a holy place. Time or place. Wherever he is performing Ashtanga, there only should give up the body. He should not wait. Okay, he should not think that let me go to Ganga, let me go to Yamuna, there only I'll give up. Not like that. Let me go to this holy place, not like that. Wherever he is, because he already developed a desire to give up the body, give up this material world. If he goes here and there, he may get attachment to stay back. So better to leave immediately. For the yogi, time and place are not cause of perfection. Yoga alone is the cause of perfection. With great determination, he controls the senses by the mind. This implies he merges the subtle senses into the mind. The Jnanendriyas and Karmendriyas into the mind completely. So basically, till now, he had the body. With the body only, he is performing Ashtanga Yoga. Now you want to become completely indifferent of the senses. Though the senses are there, he does not want to use the senses anymore. That means he is merging senses into the mind. This is the process of destruction. That's how it happens. They will be there. but he does not use them anymore. For example, now you have a laptop, mobile with you. You are using it day in, day out. But that, for example, come to know that about to die tomorrow on the deathbed, in the ICU, in the hospital. The mobile is there, but will you use the mobile? Mentally prepare for leaving the body. Even the mobile is there, laptop is there, locker is there, and so many things are there. A living person will not worry about all these things. Now he has no duty, no work with these things. Similarly, currently we have the senses, we are using them regularly. But when we want to leave the body, there will be no use of these senses. They are there next to us, but one becomes indifferent to all those senses. So it is like that. The yogi should become indifferent to all those senses. Because senses are also part of the body. This person already became indifferent to the place and time. He has to become indifferent to the body also. So that is what is indicated here. Manasvabuddhya malayayani niyamya kshetrajnayetaninayetam atmanam avarudhya dhiro labdo pashantir virameta krityat.
He merges the mind into the pure intelligence and merges the intelligence into the witnessing jiva. He merges the witnessing jiva into the pure jiva and merges the pure jiva into the Brahman. Having done so, the yogi, attaining cessation of material life, withdraws from all action.
So basically, how the yogi, when he develops a desire to attain moksha, how does he become indifferent to this material world and how does he give up the body? First, he lose all the interest in the body. Then he will lose all the interest in the senses. Senses means sensual activities. That means body merges into senses, senses merges into the mind. The source of the senses is mind. So they enter into the mind. Then now, he is merging the mind into the pure intelligence. He is merging the mind into purified intelligence. And merges the pure intelligence into the witnessing jiva. Here the pure intelligence means, I have written in here. He merges the mind into the pure intelligence. Pure intelligence means chitta or mahatattva. The mind is merged into mahatattva. He then merges the chitta into the jiva, which witnesses the pure intelligence and other elements. He merges the pure intelligence, which is chitta or mahatattva, into jiva, which is the witness to the pure intelligence and other elements. It is Atma only, which is witnessing. Atma is called witness. Witness in Bhagavad Gita, if you see, it is called Drushta. Atma is simply witnessing all our activities. The activities are not performed by the Atma. Bhagavad Gita verse kya hai? Prakrite kriyamanani gunai karmani sarvasha. Ahankara vimudatma karta miti manate. Only a false ignorant person thinks that he is the doer of all the activities, but actually activities are done by the body, which are the byproducts of the Prakriti. Starting with Chitta all the way up to the earth element, all are byproducts of Prakriti only. All these products are only activity, performing activities. But we mean the Atma thinks that I am the doer. Only foolish Atma thinks that he is the doer. That's why Shastra says that Atma always remains witness. Atma is only witness. Bhagavad Gita 5th chapter, if you see, Sparshan Bhahyam, Krutam Krutyam, like that, it says that Atma is only witness. The body is only walking, the mouth only speaking, the ears only hearing. He is not doing anything. Atma is not doing anything. Atma remains a witness only. They are happening by the bodily course. But Atma is only witness. That is the Jivan Mukta platform. So it's like that. So the body is merged into senses. Senses are merged into mind. Mind merges into Chitta. Chitta is merging into Atma. What is the quality of Atma? We say consciousness. So consciousness belongs to Atma. So the consciousness enters into Atma, the source. So that is it. That way. Then he merges the Jiva into pure Jiva, Jivan Mukta platform. While the jiva is in the material world, jiva identifies the material body. That identification is gone away now. So that identity is again merged into the original jiva. Jiva Sarupa Krishna in that way. And merges the pure jiva into Brahman. That means he is giving up the body. Merging the pure jiva into Brahman means now he will be identifying himself as Brahma Bhuta Prasannatma. He will not identify himself as a separate jiva. He identifies himself as an amsha of the Brahman. So he makes them one. Having attained destruction of all elements, Labdhopa Shanti, he stops all actions because there is nothing left for the liberated person to do. So like that, giving up the identity with all the material ingredients, one gains the identity as Aham Brahmasmi. Labdhopa Shanti means Aham Brahmasmi. He comes to the liberated platform. But he is not yet liberated. Mentally he has come to liberated platform. Physically he will come to liberated platform only when he leaves his body and enters into Brahman. So that is by raising the prana from Mooladhara Chakra all the way up to Ajna Chakra, then he enters into Brahman. So like that. So basically giving up all these elements, becoming indifferent to all these things, he enters into Brahman. So it says that Naetra Kalo Nimisham Paraprabhu Kuto no Deva Jagatam Ishire Naetra Sattvam Narajastamascha Navai Vikaro Namaham Pradhanam. So this verse talks about the qualities of Labdhupashanti. What is the nature of that Brahman which is attained by this Jiva? So you can read.
In this person, time, the controller of the Devatas, has no influence. What influence can the Devatas who control the material realm have over him? In him there is not sattva, rajas or tamas, no false ego, no mahatattva, and no prakriti.
So basically when he attains liberation, when he obtains Labdhopashanti, there will be no control of the 24 elements. The general 24 elements are controlling us. The Panchamahabhutas, 5 Tanmatras, 5 Jnanendriyas, 5 Karmendriyas, mind, intelligence, Ahankara, that is false ego, and Chitta. And even the material nature in the form of 3 modes of material nature. They all have control over us and the Devatas. So none of these things will control this person who attained liberation. This person becomes Gunatita. He goes beyond 3 modes. No one is
Yoga
Ruda platform. When he has attained Brahman as his Swarupa, time, which is superior to the Devatas, has no influence. Then how can the Devatas who control this material world influence him? Time itself will not influence him. He goes beyond the decision of time because he entered into Brahman. What is the nature of that Brahman? Where he entered? In that state of Brahman, there are no gunas and there are no false ego and there are no material elements. Nothing is there in that Brahman. No Vishesha. That is the place of Nirvishesha. So in that way.
जो भी equipoised होता है, even in Bhakti Yoga, those are equipoised. So they are beyond 3 modes of the material.
Yes, no. Traigunya Vishaya Veda Nistraigunya Bhavarjuna. Nirdvandva. Nirdvandva means equipoised. No dvandva, no dualities.
So even a Bhakti Yogi who is equipoised in all situations and all circumstances. So he is above the false ego है नहीं उसको.
Yeah, he is above 3 gunas. Yes. Param padam Vaishnavamamananti tat yenneti netiti atadustisтрикшава visrujya dauratnyamanante suruda hrudopaguya guyarha padam pade pade.
The yogis, desiring to give up the world which is not Brahman, thoroughly know that the impersonal aspect of Lord Vishnu defined as not this, not this. By avoiding erring intelligence concerning the Lord's nature and avoiding everything not related to the Lord, which embracing at every moment the worshipable lotus feet of the Lord with their whole heart.
Simple. I'll let you know. The yogis desiring to give up the world which is not Brahman. This material world which is not Brahman. There is Brahman outside the material world. There is material world. Currently still in the material world. Conceptually is already in the Brahman platform. He is already become Brahma Bhuta. But he still is here only. He has to give up the body. That will be done by Shakshakra Yoga. That is mentioned in next verses. So now, mentally he has already given up the world. Physically he has to give up. The yogis desiring to give up the world physically, which is not Brahman, thoroughly know that impersonal aspect of Lord Vishnu, Tad Param Padam Vaishnava Mamananti, defined as not this, enneti iti, by avoiding erring intelligence concerning the Lord's nature and avoiding everything not related to the Lord, while embracing at every moment the worshipable lotus feet of the Lord with their whole heart. Basically, the understanding of Brahman from the point of view of Jnana is a process known as neti. Na iti. They call it as neti. What is Brahman? Brahman is not earth. What is Brahman? Brahman is not water. What is Brahman? Brahman is not air, not ether, not fire, not karmendriyas, not jnanendriyas. Brahman is not mind. Brahman is not intelligence. Brahman is not ahankara. Brahman is not chetana. Then what is Brahman? Brahman has no qualities. We can't describe. Brahman is indescribable. Brahman has no form. Brahman has no qualities. Brahman has no dimensions. So it is indescribable. What is Brahman? Brahman is unlimited bliss.
So this is what Dhyanis think. And even a practicing Dhyana yogi. So
in general, the understanding of Brahman is the comparison basically. Bhagavad Gita, 2nd chapter, there is a distinction between the body and soul.
Right.
Yayenam veti antaram yachenam annate jagat. Yachenam annate. And then Nannate anyamana sharire and Chinnanti Shasrani, Dahati Pavaka. The body is cut into pieces, but the soul cannot. So they are comparing the soul with the body. What body goes through, the soul cannot go through. That is the understanding. Same way, the neti means the body which is made of 24 elements go through all the different difficulties, but the soul is indifferent to all these things. So that's how they understand what is soul, what is body, or what is Brahman, what is body, what is Prakriti. It's like that. That's the traditional process of understanding what is Brahman, what is not Brahman. Whatever we have experienced in the material world. So everything in the material world is not Brahman. So that's how they distinguish what is not Brahman, what is Brahman. That is called neti.
So by this knowledge, for example, by the end of life, they become like detached from the material world. So they merge into Brahman. वो जाता ही उनका destination. So their desire is to go
enter into Brahman only.
तो लेकिन वो platform तक पहुंचना चाहिए. नहीं तो नहीं जाएगा. Even an ordinary person, if he is practicing and become detached,
that is not enough. Just to becoming detached is not enough. We need to be attached to where we want to go also.
Right. So if an ordinary person is practicing Dhyana, for example, in this world, and becomes detached and attached to, he knows his goal, which is
Brahman Jai.
So he can attain that also.
Yes. That is why this is all mentioned. That is possible by practicing Bhakti Mishra, Jnana and Bhakti Mishra Yoga. There should be some Bhakti. Why Bhakti? Because that Brahman is a manifestation of Bhagavan only. It is not different from Bhagavan.
Right.
But instead of entering into Vaikuntha, he wants to enter into Brahman. That's how it is. So he embraces the worshipable lotus feet of the Supreme Lord with their whole heart. Understanding Brahman, Paramatma and Bhagavan are entirely different from the material existence. So now he is giving up the material world. Why do the Gunat not exist in Brahman? Because he is superior to Prakriti. He has attained the impersonal form of the Lord Vishnu, Vaishnavam Padam. That is famous. But the devotees like Narada understand this much more than the Jnanis do. Desiring to give up the false word, they completely know that Brahman, which is defined as not this. What do they do to attain this? What do they do to attain this? They give up the bad intelligence of the Jnanis involved in impersonal Brahman alone. The actual, the true yogis or true Jnanis who also have bhakti in it, they not only simply talk about Brahman, they also talk about Bhagavan. And they say that Brahman is nothing but the manifestation of Bhagavan only. They actually attain Brahman very easily. How? They do not have affection for things not related to Lord Vishnu. They will have affection to Brahman because it is related to Lord Vishnu. So in that way, the yogis embrace the lotus feet of Lord Vishnu, who is worthy of worship at every moment with his heart, within his heart, considering that as all in all. They consider that Bhagavan is all in all. So in that way, they embrace Lord's lotus feet. When they desire to realize only the Brahman aspect of the Lord, they desire to give up the Atat, everything except that Brahman and Bhagavan. They will give up the material world. But they do not give up the visible world because it is useful for service the Supreme Lord. Thus, the words desire to give up rather than giving up are used. So here they are trying to show one contrast between the devotees is the devotees give up the attachment to material world, but they don't give up the material world. Instead, they engage the material world in the service of the Supreme Lord. The devotees give up the desire to enjoy the material world. Instead, they don't give up the material world. They use the material world in the service of the Supreme Lord. The devotees here temple, we are using everything is available in the material world in the service of the Supreme Lord. But the Jnanis and Yogis, they give up the material world to go to Brahman. That is the distinctive feature between the devotees and Jnanis. Thus, such a yogi perfectly understands both the impersonal and personal aspects of the Lord. He embraces Lord's lotus feet within his heart at every moment. Ittam munistu paramed vyavastito vijnana drugvirya suranditachaya saparshni napidya gudam tadonilam sthaneshu sastunnamaye jitaklama.
In this way, the yogi, situated in Brahman, having destroyed all settled desires, by the strength of his vision of realization, gives up everything, though it is difficult. Pressing the Muladhara Chakra with his heel, without fatigue, he raises the air through the 6 places.
So what we have discussed till now, a yogi, after practicing yama, niyama, asana, pranayama, pratyahara, then at the stage of dharana, they need to meditate on complete form of the Paramatma. If they cannot do, they were recommended to meditate on the universal form. After that, when they are purified of all the material desire, then they should meditate on form of the Paramatma. Then form of the Paramatma, but limb by limb, that is dhyana. Then come to Samadhi, where mind becomes inactive. Then psychologically, they will enter into Brahman. How? By giving up their connection to the entire material body and also entire material world and also to the time. Then at least mentally they are entered into Brahman platform already, because they have given up all the connection to the material body, material world, material place, time, etc. But physically they need to attain perfection now. How do they attain perfection? By closely, tightly embracing the lotus feet of Paramatma, that is Lord Vishnu. They very soon they give up the body. How do they give up the body? Pressing the Muladhara Chakra with his heel without fatigue. He raises the air, prana, through the 6 places. Okay. So there is one action of the yogis is that the body contains 9 randhras, 9 holes. There are 2 eyes, 2 nostrils, 2 ears, 1 mouth, and anus and genital. They need to close these 9 holes. Should not leave the body through one of these 9 holes. Instead, they should leave the body by piercing the Brahmarandra. Further, they need to close all these 9 randhras. The yogi is supposed to, with the finger, they need to close the payu, anus, and also genital. And then they raise the prana from the Muladhara chakra. Huh?
With the help of this.
Yes.
Anus to take
So I don't know, something they do. How they do, I don't know. Pressing the Muladhara chakra, apide gudam, with his heel, okay, without fatigue, the yogi raises the air, that means prana, through the 6 chakras. To indicate that he must make great endeavor for this compared to what will be explained later. But devotees don't have to do all this endeavor. Devotees can give a body instantly. But these yogis need to go through Chakra Yoga. His subtle desires are destroyed by strength of his vision gained through realization. The method of giving up the body is then described. Pressing the Muladhara chakra, this is the first chakra, with his heel. He should lead the prana to the 6th places. Where the 6 chakras are located? The first one is at the location of the payu, that is called Muladhara chakra. The second one is navel. Third one is heart. Fourth one is chest. Fifth one is the base of the palate. Sixth one is at the forehead, between the eyebrows. And finally come to the Brahmarandra. Brahmarandra is not a chakra, but piercing to Brahmarandra, they have to go out. So like that. Starting below the navel, passing the Swadhisthana chakra, one raises the air to the navel with the Manipuraka chakra, then to the heart with the Ahanat chakra, and then to the chest to the Vishuddhi chakra, situated below the throat. This is how one gradually raises from one chakra to other chakra. Raises the prana from one chakra to other chakra. That is mentioned in the next verse. The names of the chakras are mentioned here. You can see the numbers are there. First one is Muladhara chakra, which is located at the location of the payu. The second one is Swadhisthana chakra, which is the location of the navel. The third one is Manipuraka chakra, which is at the heart location. Then Ahanata chakra, chest location. Vishuddha chakra, throat location. Then Ajna chakra, between the eyebrows. So like that. Nabhyam stitam hrudi adiropya tasmat udanagatyo rasitam nayen munin tato nusandaya diya manasvi svatálumulam shanakairnayeta.
The yogi raises the air situated in the navel to the heart and then the throat through the movement of the udana air which flows upwards. The yogi, having controlled his consciousness, searching out with the intelligence, leads the air gradually to the base of the palate.
Here you see all the chakras are mentioned. After closing the anus and genital from Muladhara chakra, the yogi has to raise the prana to navel portion, where Swadhisthana chakra is there. And then to chest portion, where Manipuraka chakra is there. Then to the heart portion, where Ahanata chakra is there. Then to the throat portion, where Vishuddha chakra is there. Then to the portion of the eyebrows, where Ajna chakra is there. While doing so, he has to control his consciousness, searching out with intelligence, lead the air gradually to the base of the palate. So basically, it is raising one after the other, going all the way up to Ajna chakra. Base of the palate is throat. The throat is where Vishuddha chakra is there. All the way up to it comes. The next verse talks about raising it to the Ajna chakra. So in that way. Manasvi means one who has conquered the consciousness. The base of the palate indicates a place preceding the actually chakra. So the movement is performed slowly because of the possibility of the air going in many directions. He further raises the life air through the Swadhisthana chakra to Manipuraka chakra and gradually it raises to the base of the palate, that is Ahana chakra. Then finally coming to Ajna chakra. Tasma Druvor Antaramunnayeta Niruda Saptayatano Napeksha Stitva Muhurtardhamanukta Drishtir Nirbidya Murdan Visrujet Paramgata.
He leads the air to the point between the brows and blocks the 7 pathways. Situated there for a moment, unattached, with a clear vision, absorbed in the Brahman, he then pierces the Brahmarandra and gives up the senses and the body.
Then, having raised the prana from Mooladhara chakra to Swadhisthana chakra at the location of the navel, then Manipura chakra little above in the abdomen and chest area, then to Ahana chakra, which is the location of the heart, then to Vishuddha chakra, which is the location of the throat. After that, one need to raise the prana to the eyebrows, to the point between the brows, that is where Agna chakra is there. And then block the 7 pathways within the head, the 2 ears, 2 nostrils, 2 eyes, and the mouth. Situated there for a moment, unattached with clear vision, absorbed in the Brahman, he then pierces the Brahmarandra and gives up the senses and the body. This is how he gives up the body and comes out of the Brahmarandra. Then he leads the air to the Ajna chakra between the eyebrows. He blocks the 7 roads within the head, the 2 ears, 2 eyes, 2 nostrils, and mouth. These are the paths by which the prana can exist. Prana can exit. Being unattached, not being interested in experiencing the enjoyments of Brahmaloka, as the Karma Muktas are, as the Karma Muktas go through all the places, but these people don't go. He pierces the Brahmarandra and gives up the body, the gross body, and senses, the subtle body. The body indicates gross body, senses indicates subtle body. Giving up both gross body and subtle body, it directly goes to Brahman. Thus, finally situating the life air at the Ajna chakra, blocking the 7 holes and forcing the life air through the Brahmarandra, the unattached yogi attains the liberation or Sahajya Mukti by giving up his gross and subtle bodies. This is the instant Mukti. A unattached yogi without any material desires, meditating on Paramatma during the Dharana and Dhyana stages, coming to the Samadhi. The understanding Samadhi means giving up connection to the entire body mentally. Then taking shelter of Ajna Chakra, Shat Chakra Yoga, the yogi gives up the connection to the body physically. Raising the prana from Mooladhara Chakra, one by one all the way up to Ajna Chakra, closing all the 9 holes of the body, piercing to Brahmarandra, he gives up the body, and without any desire to go through all the other planetary systems, directly goes to Brahman. Instantly, he attains Sahajya Mukti. This is the answer for a person who is about to die if he is a Jnani or Yogi. They should take the shelter of this process and then attain complete perfection. But this is only possible for a completely detached yogi. But if yogi still has some inquisitiveness to see what is what in this world, then they will take more time to attain liberation.
So for Jnani and Yogi, they have to do a lot of sadhana and बहुत ही अगर एक स्टेप नहीं हुआ तो नेक्स्ट स्टेप में जा ही नहीं सकते.
Yes, it is strict sadhana. Their lifestyle also we saw in the beginning of the chapter. What kind of lifestyle they should lead as a Vanaprastha sannyasi. No hut, no dress, no vessel. This is the sadhana. But this is the hard work. That's why Prabhupada says Bhakti is easy. In comparison to all these activities of the Jnanis and Yogis, Bhakti activities are easy in one sense. But we make our Bhakti most complicated than anything else. But even though these Yogis coming to this platform of complete detachment is very difficult, some of the Yogis will have still some inquisitiveness, some desires are there. then how will they attain liberation? That is mentioned from.
Such yogis exist. Exist करते तो होंगे ना.
हाँ, तो राइट, हिमालयस में रहता है कुछ. अभी little less है, but they are not there in the. The yogi means supposed to live in the forest, no? We can't see. We are living in the city. How can we see?
But
There must be some yogis who are very sincerely working. But if the yogi still has desires to enjoy in Swargaloka or Brahmaloka, then by meditating on the Virat-Rupa, he gives up his gross body but travels to those places with his subtle body. In the previous slide, if you see in the last line, it is said that being unattached, not being interested in experiencing the enjoyments of Brahmaloka or Swargaloka, the Kramamuktas, at the Kramamuktas who are interested in enjoying the Brahmaloka and all. But this detached yogi pierces the Brahmarandra and gives up the gross body and subtle body, enters into Brahman instantly. But if the yogi has some desire to enjoy Brahmaloka means not enjoying sense gratification, just to pay a visit to Brahmaloka and other lokas, they will not attain instant mukti. They will have to pass through all the places because that is the desire. They will go through all the places and attain liberation after some time, slowly. So that's why it is written here as having spoken of the instant liberation, that is Shigra Mukti. Sukadeva Goswami now describes the gradual liberation, Krama Mukti. We'll see now what is enjoyment. So it is 4:45. Should we continue or we'll stop? I thought we'll do this section 32, so that this section, this theme will be over. Next theme will be Bhakti, that we will do tomorrow. Not the full chapter, but 10 verses in the next 10-15 minutes.
Yeah, thank you.
Since we started late.
Yeah.
Yadi prayasyan drupaparameshtyam nihayasanam utayad viharam ashtadipatyam gunasannivaye sahaiva gachan manasendriyaischa.
O king, if one endeavors for Brahmaloka or the playgrounds of the aerial beings who are endowed with 8 mystic powers in variegated universe, one goes to those places with the mind and senses.
If at all this yogi still has some desire to go to upper planetary systems, pass through upper planetary systems, then he has to pass through. The desire is there, that has to be fulfilled, so that he will have no more desires. If one desire to attain Brahmaloka or the playgrounds of the Kecharas, the flying beings, that is basically indicating Swargaloka and other lokas, who have 8 mystic powers in this universe filled with qualities, at the time of giving up the body, one does not give up the mind and the senses. Rather, with the mind and senses, that means with the subtle body, one goes to enjoy in all these places. Now he has given up the gross body by raising the prana all the way from Mooladhara Chakra to Ajna Chakra. The gross body is given up, but subtle body is still there because he wanted to pass through all the places. He needed a body to pass through all the places. So with the subtle body, he goes through all the lokas. Where all he goes is mentioned in the next verse onwards. So what path he will take? That path is called as path of light. As we were discussing yesterday, Bhagavad Gita chapter 8 talks about path of light. Open next slide. Agnirjyoti Hashukla Shanmasa Uttarayanam Tattar Prayata Gachanti Brahma Vidojana. The knowers of Brahman, Brahma Vidojana, who depart. That means Brahma Vidojana means the Brahmavadis, not the Mayavadis. Only Brahmavadis attain Kaivalya or Sayujya. The Mayavadis will not attain. The Brahmavadis who depart on the path of fire and light, the way during the waxing fortnight and the northern progress of the sun, Uttarayana, attain Brahman, Brahma Gachanti. They eventually attain Brahma Sayujya. The two words Agni and Jyoti indicate the presiding Devata of light, which is mentioned in the Shrutis. Aha means the deity of the day. Shukla means the deity of the waxing fortnight. Shanmasa Uttarayana means the presiding deity of the 6 months leading to summer solstice, Uttarayana deity. Archiradi refers to the path of light under discussion, in which the first deity is Archi, the Deva of light. the last being, four-faced Prajapati Brahma. So starting with the Devata of light, all the way up to Brahma, they take shelter of all the Devatas, then eventually they enter into Brahman. Bhagavad Gita ठीक से पढ़ा नहीं. See, basically, generally when we read Bhagavad Gita, we say that those people who leave their body during the daytime, during the bright fortnight, during the Uttarayana time, they leave they attain Brahman. Not just like that. The internal meaning is that by taking the help of these deities, with the deity of the daytime, with the deity of the bright fortnight, with the deity of the Uttarayana, and going to the Brahmaloka, with the help of Brahma, one will attain Brahman. It is like that.
जो उत्तरायण में जाते हैं, उत्तरायण का एक डीटी है, तो वो मदद करते हैं.
Because he is going towards Uttarayana, he will take this yogi also to Uttarayana, from Bhuloka to top of Sargaloka, and from there he moves on to other Maharloka, Janaloka, Tapaloka, Satyaloka, and then to Brahman, step by step. अब जा रहे हैं, कोई गाड़ी में जा रहे हैं, उनको लिफ्ट मांगेंगे तो लिफ्ट देगा ना, so थोड़ा दूर उनके साथ चलेंगे, like that.
फिर वो स्टेप के बाद और डीटी का सहारा लेकर ऊपर जाना पड़ेगा,
दूसरा डीटी का सहारा लेके आगे जाएंगे. So like that. This path is called as Archiradi. Archi, the deity of daytime. Okay, and all these intermediate deities are there all the way up to Brahma. Brahma tak madad lena padta hai. Starting with the deity of the day all the way up to Brahma. The help is needed for a yogi to go on. After reaching Brahmaloka, the jnanis and the yogis attain liberation along with Brahma at the end of Brahma's long life. Sometimes these yogis, having gone to Brahmaloka, they stay there along with Brahma for the entire lifespan of Brahma, then they attain liberation. Or sometimes the yogis stay till the end of the Brahma's day, then they attain liberation. Or sometimes they spend some time, then they attain liberation. All these three are possible. Just they pay visit to Brahmaloka, they stay there for 1 year, then they go on to liberation. Or they stay till the end of the day of Brahma, then they attain liberation. Or they stay along with Brahma till the end of Brahma's lifetime, then they attain liberation. All the three possibilities are there. Anything can happen according to their desire. Altogether, there are 13 deities on the path of light, all of which are not directly mentioned in the Gita. This path is also tread by some devotees, for only the unallied devotees are directly delivered by the Lord. Only unallied devotees are directly delivered by the Lord. Other devotees, the Mishra Bhaktas, need to take shelter of these deities to go back to Godhead. हमको मदद तो लेना ही पड़ेगा, मदद के बिना होता ही नहीं काम. By my sweet will, I place my devotees on Garuda's shoulders and bring him unhindered to the supreme abode without any need of the path of Archiradi. Only the pure devotees. This is a statement which is there in other Puranas, which is not there in Bhagavad Gita. You read the statement, it's okay from where it is. The Lord Vishnu says that by my sweet will, I place my devotee on the shoulders of Garuda and bring him without any obstacles to the supreme abode, without following the path of Archiradi. Otherwise, the Mishra Bhaktas, who also harbor some material there, they need to go through all these places, passing through all the lokas, then they'll go to Vaikuntha. Jo bhi hone do, this is the process. Try to understand. Yogeshwaranam gatirahurantar bahistrilokya pavanantaratmanam na karma bistam gatimapnuvanti vidya tapo yoga samadhi bhajam.
They say that the great yogis who possess subtle bodies and worship the Lord, follow Dharma and practice Ashtanga Yoga and Jnana, go anywhere inside and outside the universe. They do not attain such places by performance of karma.
They say, matlab Shastra says that the great yogis who possess subtle bodies, having given up the gross body, and who also worship the Supreme Lord in the form of Bhagavan and Paramatma, follow Dharma and practice Ashtanga Yoga and also practice Jnana, go anywhere inside and outside the universe. They do not attain such places by performance of karma. Only those who by practicing bhakti with the dharma, tapasya, yoga, and jnana can attain entry into all other lokas, not by karma. Karma at max can take one to Swargaloka only. It cannot take one beyond Swargaloka. It is only those who practice jnana, yoga, and tapasya, vairagya very seriously, and the word bhakti also. Vidya refers to bhakti. Those who practice bhakti, tapasya, vairagya, and jnana only very seriously can go to upper planetary systems by taking the shelter of Archiradi Devatas. Okay? Though the yogis may enjoy, that is not the same enjoyment experienced by the karmis. The standard of enjoyment of the yogis is much different than the standard of enjoyment of the karmis. When the karmis go to Swargaloka, when the yogis go to Karmaloka, they don't enjoy the same way. The yogis enjoy only by looking at, but the karmis enjoy actually by enjoying. Are you getting? When wonderful bhoga is offered in front of us, we enjoy by eating it. The deities enjoy only by looking at it. They don't need to eat it to enjoy. So in that way.
Enjoyment is
Not grass,
not
subtle.
gross. There is enjoyment, but it is not gross.
They say that the great yogis can go inside the universe to places like Maharloka and outside the universe as well, because they have subtle bodies. They perform worship of the Lord, follow the rules of the Lord, practice Ashtanga Yoga, and practice Jnana as well. These Virat-Rupa meditators are not like ordinary karmis with material desires. They are endowed with Vidya, Tapa, Yoga, and Jnana, and they do not attain these various places due to their karma, unlike the karmis. So, having mentioned that these yogis, having given up the grass body with their subtle body, they can go anywhere, and they can also enjoy everything, but not like that of the karmis. Karmis cannot go everywhere, and the way karmis enjoy, the yogis will not enjoy. Their enjoyment is entirely different and it's very, very subtle platform. So where all they go, how they go, what are the different places they pass through? That is mentioned from verse number 24 onwards. Vaishvanaram yati vihaya sagata sushumnaya brahmapatena soshisha viduta kalkota harerudastat prayati chakram rupa shaishumaram.
O king, the yogi, having gone by the path of Brahmaloka, goes to Vaishvanara by means of the ether through the luminaries of the Sushumna Nadi. Being free of all desires, he then approaches the Sushumna constellation above, which is related to the
First, they go to the present deity of fire, Vaishvanara. First, they go to the present deity of the fire. Who is this Vaishvanara? We can take him as sun. During the Uttarana time period or whatever time period, its sun during Uttarana goes upward. Na? So they take shelter of sun because sun is going towards north. With the help of sun, they will go towards the north. She's towards all the way up to Maharloka. By the way, sun while going to north, he will pass through Bhuvarloka and Swargaloka. And they will also pass through Bhuvarloka and Swargaloka. By means of the Akasha, through the Shishumna Nadi, by the path of Brahmaloka. This path will go all the way up to Brahmaloka. But on the way, some distance, they take shelter of Vaishvanara, the deity of fire, whom we can call him as sun also. The Nadi is located outside the body, since it is filled with luminaries. The path they go through is called as Shishumna Nadi. The path where all the luminaries are there, that is called Shishumna Nadi. That is the backbone of the Shishumara constellation systems. So in that way. Having given up the impurities, having given up the material desire, gross material desires, not being attached to anything, they proceed to the circle of stars located higher in the form of dolphin, Shishumara Chakram, which is related to the Lord. That circle starts with the stars such as Aditya, that is Punarvasam Nakshatra, passing through the abode of the Dhruva, Bhuvarloka and Swargaloka, finally ends with Dhruva. Basically, by taking the help of sun, who is called as Vaishvanara, they pass through Bhuvarloka and Swargaloka, which is filled with so many stars. Combining all the stars, it is called as Shishumara Chakram. They pass to Shishumara Chakram, then they come to Dhruvaloka.
So these stars are also planets?
I mean, stars are stars only. Stars are abodes. They are not called as planets. They are the abodes of the residents of heaven. The heavenly residents like Gandharvas, Kinnaras, Apsaras, Kimpurushas, Vidyadhara, Charanas, and the main Devata, they all reside in the stars. Stars are nothing but the Vimanas, which are like the Vimana created by Kardama Muni.
Oh, they are Vimanas.
They are all airplanes, spatial, divine airplanes.
So the divine aeroplanes is there abode?
That is their abode. Every Devata is given one airplane. Their size varies from 6 kilometers to 1,000 kilometers. Vimana size, the diameter of the Vimana varies from 6 kilometers to 1,000 kilometers or 1,300 kilometers. That is mentioned in the Vaipurana.
For one member,
for one Devata. The main leader is the one Devata. He has many of his associates. His wife, children, family members, friends, relatives, Brahmanas, this, that, everyone will be there. It is like a huge village. But for village, there is only one leader. So it is given to that person. Tad Vishwanabhim tu Ativartya Vishnor Aniyasa Viraje Natmanaikam Namaskritam Brahma Vidamu Paiti Kalpa Yushoya Dvibudharamante.
Surpassing the level of Vishnu, the area of Swarga, with his very subtle pure body, he alone arrives at the worshipable Maharloka, in which sages who live for a Mahakalpa enjoy.
Then, as we saw that, taking the help of Vaishwanara, our son, he slowly passes through Bhuvarloka, then passes through Sargaloka. Bhuvarloka and both come into the called Shishumara. Then he comes to the place of Dhruvaloka, which is considered to be the Nabi of Vishnu, Nabi of the entire universal form.
So this Dhruvaloka is above Brahmaloka?
Above Sargaloka. Brahmaloka kahan se aa gaye? We are just passing through Bhuvarloka and Sargaloka.
Okay, तो फिर ब्रह्मलोक के नीचे ही रहेगा, ब्रह्मलोक तपलोक.
Dhruvaloka is below only. It is the Nabi portion. Brahmaloka is the forehead portion. Dhruvaloka is the Nabi portion. Nabi नीचे रहेगा ना? Nabi इधर नहीं रहेगा.
I thought because it is one of the root of is permanent. It is like Vaikuntha only. I thought ki.
But it is located at a Nabi portion. So passing through the circle of stars, that Shishumara Chakra belonging to Lord Vishnu, which is considered to be the navel, so consisting of Bhuvarloka, okay, of the universal form. The Bhuvarloka is considered to be the navel portion of the universal form, which will be mentioned in the 5th chapter later on. Bhuvarloka Kalpita Padbyam. Sir, Bhurloka Kalpita Padbyam, Bhuvarloka Koste Nabita. Bhuloka is considered to be the feet of the Lord, and Bhuvarloka is considered to be the Nabi. So Bhuvarloka is basically the Nabi portion. The Bhuvarloka is the Nabi portion, and little above the Bhuvarloka, little above the Nabi portion is the Sargaloka. So in that way, of the universal form, with a subtle body which is very subtle and pure, he alone separate from others because he does not go to Sarga, arrives at Maharloka. This fellow, this person, this yogi, taking the shelter of the Vaishwanara deity, sun passing through Uttarana time period, he passes through the Nabi portion. That means he passes through Bhuvarloka, then he passes through Sargaloka, then he passes through Dhruvaloka, then he enters into Maharloka. He does not stay anywhere. He directly goes to Maharloka. That place which is meant for Brahmavidam, for Brahmavadis, which is the abode of the perfected Brahmavadis, which is worthy of worship, where the sages who live for one lifetime of Brahma enjoy. The great sages such as Bhrigu, Vasishtha, Pulaha, Kratu, whose lifespan is also equal to the lifespan of Brahma, they stay in Maharloka.
They are Brahmavadis.
They are all Brahmavadis. Brahmavadi does not mean that they are not devotees.
But they accept the form of the Lord, and
they do accept everything, but they teach the philosophy of Brahmavada. They are the teachers of Nishkama Karma Yoga. followed by Jnana Yoga, Ashtanga Yoga, which leads to moksha. That is their seva. Just like in a school, there are teachers. A math teacher generally teaches math only, but he also knows science. He also knows social studies. As a person, he knows all these things, but he teaches maths. So when you see him on the roadside, what you will say? Maths teacher. That's why these great sages, they know everything, but they teach Brahmavada. That's why they are called as Brahmavadis. That is their seva. They were told to teach that. They are devotees, but still they teach this. When they are teaching it, they are called as Brahmavadis. Ato anantasya mukanalena dandayamanam saniriksha vishwam niryati siddheshwara yushta dishnam yadvi parardhyam tadu parameshtyam.
After this, seeing the three worlds, including Swarga, burning because of the fire emanating from the mouth of Ananda, he departs from Brahmaloka, which lasts 2 parardhas, and where there are flying vehicles used by perfected beings.
Yeah. Then after coming to Maharloka, he stayed there for some time. Then he goes to Janaloka, he stayed there for some time. Then he goes to Tapaloka, he stayed there for some time. Then eventually comes to Brahmaloka, where Brahmaji resides, whose lifespan is equal to 100 years. 1 parardha is equal to 50 years of Brahma. Why the paradhas? Abhi tak 1 parardha is completed, 50 years are completed. The second 50 years have just started. That's why it is said as 3 para ardhas. Ardha means half. So in that way. Okay. So passing through all these places, he has come to Brahmaloka, where the people live for 2 parardhas lifetime. In Brahmaloka, everyone has space vehicles.
Brahmaloka.
Even within Brahmaloka also, individual person has an individual vimana. So in that way, even all these abodes are called Siddheshwara, abodes of the perfected beings. And what is the quality of Brahmaloka? Na itra shoko na jara na mrutyur na nartir na chodvegarte kutaschet yacchittato da krupaya nidam vidam duranta dukkha prabhavanu darshanat.
In Brahmaloka, there is no lamentation, old age, death, suffering, or fear, except suffering in the mind. Because of their compassion on seeing the influence of insurmountable sufferings when the living entity is ignorant of the path of the Vaishnava Yoga.
Yeah. So in Brahmaloka, there is no shoka, there is no old age, there is no death, no distress or no suffering, and no fear. But they go through a kind of compassionate fear when they look down to the Bhuloka, seeing the miserable condition of the living entities in the Bhuloka, even to the extent of Bhurloka and Sargaloka also, where people are not taking shelter of Vaishnava Yoga, that is Bhakti. They feel pain out of compassion. Otherwise, on themselves, no one in Brahmaloka experiences any tinge of pain. That is the nature of Brahmaloka.
Do no lamentation, old age.
If the yogi desires to stay until the end of Brahma's life in Brahmaloka, he attains liberation at that time with Brahma. If that yogi, since there is no nothing, na? In Brahmaloka there is no fear, no death, no old age, no misery, no hunger, no thirst, nothing is there. So then, thinking that okay, this nothing is there, everything is very peaceful. If the yogi desires to stay there till the end of Brahma's lifetime, he will stay there till the end of Brahma's life. Then along with Lord Brahma, he attains liberation. If he desires liberation before that, he pierces the 7 coverings of the universe and enters Brahman. That is now described. If he want to stay till the end of Brahma's lifetime, he can stay there. If you want to stay there till the end of Brahma's day, then they can stay there. If you want to leave immediately and attain Brahman, he will attain Brahman immediately. So how does he attain now? That is
So
mentioned.
from there he never falls down.
No, he will not fall down. Brahmavadis will never fall down. Only Mayavadis will fall down. इतना करने के बाद कैसे fall down? ततो विशेषं प्रतिपद्य निर्भयस् तेनात्मनापो नलमूर्तिरत् अत्वरन् ज्योतिर्मयो वायुमुपेत्य काले वायुवात्मनाकं बृहदात्मलिङ्गम्.
Then he attains the layer of earth without fear, with the body of earth, then the layer of water, with the body of water, and then the layer of fire, with the body of fire. In time, he attains the layer of air, with an air body, and then the layer of ether, which is worshipped as the form of karma.
Step by step, he passes through all the 7 layers of the universe. The first layer is earth layer. Having gone to the earth layer, he enjoys the fragrance. The quality of the earth layer is fragrance. So whatever the remnants of desires are there in relation to fragrance, he fulfills that. Then he gives up the body made up of earth element. Then he enters into the layer of water, which is 10 times thicker than the layer of the earth. There he enjoys the taste.
They enjoy.
Enjoys matlab, abhi after some time we'll go to kitchen. What you will do? Honor? I don't think so. We are honoring prasadam. We go there, we see the fragrance. Fragrance is good, then put more, 1 more spoon extra. Fragrance is not good, no more, not extra. And then we start eating. If it is tasty, we eat properly. We eat some more. If it's not tasty, we'll put in the dustbin. We are actually tasting it. We are actually enjoying it. We are not honoring. If the prasadam is tasteless, fragranceless, temperatureless, will you eat? You may eat if you are hungry, maybe 1 or 2 morsels, but not. If the prasadam is very tasty, very good looking, very fragrant, feast, how much you will take? You will take more than the usual quantity. That is called honoring or enjoying? No, enjoying only. Enjoying only. So, with the subtle body, when it enters into the earth layer, the earth offers fragrance. He will enjoy. That enjoyment may not be like our enjoyment, very gross. That enjoyment is very subtle. But that means whatever incuteness he has in relation to smell, he will fulfill that. So whatever the remnant race is there with that in respect to fragrance, that will be done. He gives up that. Then goes to water layer. He gives up his incuteness in relation to taste. Then fire. Then air. Then eventually goes to the layer of ether. Any inquisitiveness in relation to sound or music, that will be done at the ether layer. He will give up that up. So basically, he might be having, okay, for example, the people outside, what they do on weekend, they say that today I'll go to this restaurant, I'll enjoy there. Tomorrow, next week I'll go there, that restaurant, I will enjoy there. Like that, there are 100 restaurants. They'll make plan that, okay, in this year, there are 50 weeks, the next year, 50 weeks. In 2 years, I will visit all the restaurants. I'll fulfill my desires. So this yogi also, if he has some desires in relation to some taste, something here and there, he will experience everything in that layer. Because that layer is the original source of everything. No? Everything will be there in that particular layer. So he will be exposed to all different layers. He may not enjoy physically. He will just see, okay, this is grade 1, grade 2, grade 3, grade 4, grade 5, grade 100. So all is up. Okay, thank you very much. Now my inquiriness to know about the taste, different variety of taste is over. Let me go next. Let me go next. Slowly, he gives up his that inquisitiveness in relation to each and every item. It's like that. Finally, he comes to the layer of ether. So where ether is also called as Brahman. ether is compared to Supreme Lord, because the quality of ether is sound. It is only by sound we know about the Supreme Lord. Okay, that which is giving the understanding of Supreme Lord is also called as Supreme Lords many times. It is only by sound only we are getting the knowledge about Supreme Lord. Na? That's why sound is sometimes called as Brahmalingam or Burhadatmalingam. Okay, that's why when he comes to the sound platform, he will worship the sound platform as non-different from the Supreme Lord. Then he gives up the sound also. That is what is mentioned in the next verse. Granena gandham rasanena vairasam rupam chadrishtya swasanam tvachaiva shrotena chopetya nabo gunatvam pranena choktim upaiti yogi.
The yogi attains smell, taste, form, touch, and sound, as well as the actions of the various action senses.
Yeah. He surpasses the subtle sense objects. He attains fragrance pursued by the nose, then taste pursued by the tongue. He then attains the form, touch, and then sound in succession. These sense objects reside in various layers made up of earth, water, fire, and ether. Smell resides in the earth layer, for instance. They are explained here, but are attained along with the various layers. He then enters into the layer of Ahankara. There, he attains various actions of the action senses in the layer of false ego. In the Ahankara layer, he get to see the variety of activities performed by the 5 karmendriyas. He does not enjoy, he just sees. By seeing, he is inquisitive to know the end of the activities of the action senses is over. He gives up. Sabhuta sukshmendriya sannikarsham manomayam devamayam vikaryam samsadya gatya sahatena yati vijnana tattvam gunasannirodham.
The yogi attains the layer of the false ego, in which the sense objects, senses, mind and sense, devatas, are merged into the gunas of tamas, rajas and sattva. He merges the false ego into the mahatattva layer. He then merges the mahatattva into the pradhana, in which the gunas have strong function.
So basically, after giving up the ether layer, he enters into Ahankara layer. Ahankara layer, he get to see the activities of the 5 karmendriyas. Then he get to see the activities of the intelligence. He get to see the activities of the mind. He get to see the activities of the devatas, who are supervising the activities of all the senses. He sees all of them. Then his inquisitiveness to know about them is satisfied. When you see about all the different things, everything is done, na? Then he is done with, he is peaceful. Then, leaving up that Ahankara layer, he enters into Mahatattva layer, which is the 7th layer. There he get to...
Inquisitiveness वहाँ पर भी रहता है. हाँ. Curiosity, inquisitiveness वहाँ पर भी रहता है.
इसलिए इनको बोला attached yogi ना. That's why, because of the inquisitiveness only, was told to meditate on the Virat-Rupa. Meditate kiya, but 99% completed. 1% still remaining. That 1% is removing now. It is only inquisitiveness, not to enjoy, but just to see, just to know. After Ahankara layer, he enters into Mahatattva layer, where he gets to see the different activities of the Chaitanya. Okay, that is also over. He gives up that Mahatattva layer. Then he enters into Pradhana layer. Pradhana is consisting of 3 modes: Sattva-guna, Rajoguna, Tamoguna. Then he get to see the various activities of Rajoguna, Samoguna, and Sattva-guna. Then he goes behind. Of course, in the Pradhana only, the modes are slowly activated and performing activities. But at the top of the layer, the modes remain inactive. He sees the modes in a standstill condition. Then he gives a Pradhana layer. Then he enters into Brahman. It's like that, one by one, giving up all the layers. He eventually enters into Brahman. That is mentioned in the next verse. Tenatmanatmanamupaiti shantam anandamayo vasane etam gatim bhagavatim gatoya Savai punarneha visajyatenga.
O king, he merges his Swarupa along with Pradhana into the blissful, unchanging form of the Mahavishnu. With that termination, he remains blissful. He who has attained this goal does not return to the material world.
Then, after he had gone to Pradhana layer, he gives up Pradhana. His connection to Pradhana, along with his connection to Pradhana, he enters into the body of Mahavishnu, unchanging form of Mahavishnu, Anandam, Shantam, Atmanam. That is called Brahman. Brahman in one sense non-different from Mahavishnu himself. Mahavishnu's unlimited expansive form is called Brahman. He enters into that Brahman. Okay? He who has attained this goal, Etam Gatim Bhagavatim Gatoya Punar Na Iha Visajjate. He will never come back to the material world again. He who enters into Brahman will never come back to the material world again. Along with Pradhana, being situated in his Swarupa, entering into Brahman, he attains the Supreme Brahman, the Adi Purusha, full of bliss, who is beyond the layer of Prakriti. This is the abode of Karnarnavashai Vishnu. Brahman is the abode of Karnodakshai Vishnu. Finally, he becomes bliss. This means that he merges into the Lord, Supreme Brahman. He does not return to the material world again. Having entered into Brahman, this yogi will never come back to the material world. Thus, he merges his Swarupa along with the Pradhana into Brahman. He who has attained this goal, that is Supreme Brahman or Sahajya Mukti, never returns to the material world. So, that is how the yogi attains Kaivalya or Brahma Sahajya. So, last verse, both let okay. Ete strite nrupaveda gite Tvaya bipurishte cha sanatane cha ye vai pura brahmana ahatushta aradito bhagavan Vasudeva.
O King Vasudeva, after being worshipped and being satisfied, described to Brahma long ago, this two eternal paths to attain Brahman, described in the Vedas, which were asked by you.
So here he says that, O King, Lord Vasudeva, Bhagavan Vasudeva, after being worshipped and being satisfied by Brahma, spoke to Lord Brahma long ago at the beginning of the creation, at the beginning of Brahma's birth. These two eternal paths to attain Brahman, described in the Vedas, which were asked by you. These are the two paths of Brahman. The first path is the direct liberation, which was described in verse number 21, all the way up to 21. After describing the form of Paramatma, then the path of attaining Brahman directly, instantly, that is mentioned all the way up to 21. With the words Nirbidya Murdnam Visrujet Paramgati. The second path is gradual liberation, Karma Mukti, which was described starting with verse number 22. These paths are described in the Vedas, not observed by me. The Vedas describe direct liberation. When one is free from all desires situated in the heart, then one becomes immortal and attains Brahman. This is from Katha Upanishad. Gradual liberation is described also in the Vedas with the cessation of section starting with Te Archir Abhi Sambhavanti. They reach the sun planet. So Brihadaranyaka Upanishad talks about the second Krama Mukti. Parikshit Maharaj previously asked what a person who is dying should do. This answered the question. With the person who is dying, if he is well acquainted with Nishkama Karma Yoga, Jnana Yoga, Ashtanga Yoga, they should practice Bhakti Mishra Yoga and attain Brahma Sahajya instantly in no time. This will not take much time. At least the instant Mukti will not take much time, which happens immediately.
मतलब जब ब्रह्मलोक में रहेंगे, for example.
ब्रह्मलोक नहीं, इधर से बॉडी छोड़ के सीधा मुक्ति में पहुंच जाएगा. Unless until if he has some desires, he will pass through all the lokas.
इतना सा भी डिजायर रहेगा तो वो उसको जाने ये पूरा प्रोसेस से जाने पड़ेगा.
हाँ, yes ना. But that has to be negated. Otherwise, he will come back again. कुछ desire है तो.
ऐसा नहीं होता कि ब्रह्मलोक में पहुंचे के बाद से 6 layers कैसे होगा?
वो तो वही होगा ना, ब्रह्मलोक से होगा ना।
अच्छा, वो सिर्फ टच करके जाता है कि
हाँ।
ये जो प्लानिटरी सिस्टम वो टच करके जाएगा,
हाँ।
ब्रह्मलोक में जाएगा। तो यहाँ पे वो स्टे नहीं करेगा ना?
If he wants, he will stay at every place. Even Brahmaloka also, if he wants, he can stay till the end of Brahma's lifespan. But if he does not want to stay, just goes there, spends one day, sees what is there all around. He is inquisitive just to know what is there in the material world. What is there wherever.
So he is, मतलब यहाँ से उसने practice किया, almost he is perfected, but थोड़ा सा contamination बचा।
Hey, contamination में नहीं, that is inquisitiveness, it is not contamination.
वो inquisitiveness है, तो
Just to know what is the extent of this particular thing. He always heard about Brahmaloka. He just want to see Brahmaloka. What is Brahmaloka? He saw Brahma is there and other. Okay, fine. Thank you. I'm going.
So the time period will be decided by him.
Yeah, according to him only. How long he wants to be there is up to him.
There is no force.
No force. He just had an inquisitiveness to see. He see and go.
He will not control of any demigods also.
No devatas control him. He's already beyond them. Because he already attained Brahma Bhuta platform. Na? When he comes to Brahma Bhuta, he is beyond the control of the devatas. So that it is like that. So thank you very much. We'll stop here. Tantra Srimad Bhagavatam.